I don't know. This is Cassandra London, and you're listening to the sounds of Kush Genesis on SFDCRADIO.com.
Organization, first time, well, in conjunction with another organization, recognize many people in the Luton community just deal with the category of a music category for now, because there's many other categories to deal with, you know. So we do know it was a hard work as a man, you know. It's like him just take the work on him shoulder and just run with it. You see, you know, no time to waste, no time with the ism that this kid's about. Well, massage, who for ego, so Bob Baker, yes.
Well, everybody got a unique talent from God still, you know what I mean? So everybody got a gift that they have to give once and discover themselves. You know?
Which is your month astrology like?
Enough, you know, my month is October.
You see that? I'm
an October month.
Next
Trust
October
me.
man again.
You know
Management.
what I mean? You know?
October when?
The 13th.
What?
The 13th.
12
the 13th
and 13.
of October.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Saturday and Sunday.
You know?
Yeah, man.
You know?
What big thing,
and
big
plus,
thing.
Plus, you see another thing really right. Like I said, this time is a time of the seasonal change. You know, from being an autumn.
Yes.
You know, like all things goes in a season.
Yes.
And they also say that October really, right, that it's a balance, you know?
Yes.
You know, but anyway, the short of it now, in terms of black history is very, very important to me.
Yes.
And I don't really, how can I say, the month is a month of reflection, but black history is continuing, you know, so I don't really subscribe to the agenda that black history is October, is throughout. And what we do throughout, that emphasize where we are now, you know. So, and that note really, right, in terms of Luton.
Why is black history, when you say it's to you, what, you know, why is it so dear to you, Bob? You know, well, even though obviously you don't prescribe to obviously the short month, but the month itself is of no significance also, yes? Yeah,
it's significance because it's a time really, right, that's been subscribed to us all, that October is Black History Month. It's a time when we look around and reflect on our journey in life. You know, look at how far we've come. You know, world liberation. You know, like our great civilization. You know, and where we're at now, scattered over the diaspora.
So who's it for? Who's Black History Month for, Bob? From your understanding?
To me, really, right, Black History Month is for the world. You know, it's for the world. It's a gift from God for the world. But unfortunately, due to our circumstances, one would not think that. We've been labeled. That's why we have to carry the term black, in a sense, even though black got different connotation within what you call it. But it's emphasizing really that we are great people to be discovered. Where we were before, we are still now in self, so long as we believe. And we continue to contribute, even though our contribution is not recognized. You know, because I believe we are the backbone of humanity, civilization, the whole lot. You know, and anything we want to achieve, we can achieve.
Yes.
I don't believe in just taking things as it is. So you see, so it is.
Yeah, you know? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting, Bob. Yeah, interesting. In reference to you know, events, Bob. Have you seen many events going on for this particular month, especially in the 3 counties? Do you know any events that are going on?
Well, in truth, right, there's 1 or 2 events, but it's been very sporadic and scattered.
Okay.
You know, and to me, really, right, you know, it is not very liberating to say where we was coming from. Because, you know, at one time we used to have a program. You know, we used to have certain things that we used to go to.
But it's interesting you saying that, Bob. You know what I mean? Not very liberating. We used to have a program once upon a time ago. All right, so if we ask ourselves the question, that we're in Black History Month now, yeah? And like you said, you also said a time, like you said, for remembering, reflecting, you know? And when we remember and we reflect, even if we just go back, 10 years, yeah, in Luton 3 counties, have we progressed or have we regressed?
That is a very difficult question, but this is just my opinion and my perspective.
Which is what we want.
Right? My opinion and perspective, no, we have not. Really, right? And I will tell you the reason why we have not. The reason I believe really, right, that we have lost that sort of feeling of sense and community. For whatever reason, whether it be like economic, job-wise, or certain venues or places that we used to have is non-functional anymore. And at the same time, with the influx of people coming in, and there's no sort of cohesion.
Interesting again.
You know, in that kind of way. So sometimes really, right, you know, for me anyway, we need to we need to continue with our legacy, you know, because once those get lost, it's very hard to repair those. And that's one of the genuine, you know, relationship. There has been people who I miss dearly, and I reflect on this time of year. One of them is Rita Clark. You know, there's also Zippy.
Yes.
You know, our ancestors that gone, you know, helped me, you know, and things like that.
Yes.
You know, so I don't forget those people. Even some people are still alive, you know, within that. And I think it's very good that we know about, you know, the people who set the benchmark. Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, and the great people even the, you know, the messenger, Bob Marley, and everything like that. But I think at the same time, right, we have to draw on our own now. What are we doing in this locality? Where is our history?
Thank you, Bob. Beautiful.
You know, there's no point talking about all them other things and you don't even look towards your own.
Yes.
Because those people have struggled. We have struggles now.
Yes.
Knowledge is good, but it's their application. You know?
And that's crucial because we all know that you've mentioned some crucial vibes there. You've mentioned community centers, which we used to have and maybe not have no more. You know, because obviously the question bounced off from whether the African Caribbean community has progressed or regressed over the last 10 years. And obviously it's people's personal views and opinions, and that's what we appreciate. And when we look at the situation, obviously there's mixed views going on. Yes, and again, the last 10 years, because it's now 2013, we're in Luton. Another thing I observed, because Bob mentioned situation with the youths and the community club, and I noticed clubs we used to have we no longer have, naturally. Why haven't we got a club, Bob? Because I noticed that, you know, I was observing the other day, like, as you know, for instance, he puts on dominant matches and dancing, and one thing I noticed is that everywhere he seems to go, seems to be a black-owned African Caribbean centre. He seems to go to. Why hasn't Luton got one, in your opinion?
I think there was a time really, right, when grants was given to the so-called immigrant population, if I use that terminology, for those who are familiar with that.
For want of a better word,
to actually sort of, you know, to protect them against the atrocities around, so that they could have their own cultural whatever. And you know, at the time, I don't know what happened at the time, whether we wasn't forward in taking it up, or at the same time, right, other people make best use of it. You know, other how can I say it, right, other nationality, you know, make use of it, and we got too integrated without having something of our own. We reached out our own self.
Interesting, you know, again.
Not to have self-reliance.
In your opinion, as you touched upon that right there, so, do you think it's something we need? Do we need an African Caribbean community centre? You know,
I'll say definitely. I'll tell you why I say definitely. Because there are specific cultural issues that we need to address, given the legacy, you know, the recent legacy of where we're coming from. It's all very well those people who are well versed in terms of pre-European or history, you know, but unfortunately we're not all student to life. You know, sometimes this common sense thing is a good thing, but it's not a very good thing in terms of ideology and purposeful. So I think that basically, right, we need to educate our own and celebrate our own. Why do you think we have the Queen? That's a continuation of what they're dealing with. I'm no problem with that. You know, I mean, all for the Commonwealth in a certain way, but we must not think that we're just water and air and element. There's more to us, and we need to actually sort of to be educated, you know, to be socialized, and all those things, so that we can manage our own affairs, and we can contribute more than we've been contributing, you know, in certain ways.
Well, yeah, powerful. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Bob. And I feel like a base, like an African Caribbean Centre, you used the word also earlier on, legacy. Again, you know what I mean? And the culture. What are we teaching our children? What are we leaving for our grandchildren? Where is the legacy? You know, if we're not building something, you know, if you don't start to build a house, it would never ever get finished, because nobody's ever started to build it, you know? So, you know, I really appreciate your sentiments in that area, because I'm very much concerned about, you know, looking at the struggle from where we are, which is Luton, Luton Town, Bedfordshire, yes? And we're seeing, like I said, the problems that are local, national, international, and even global, yeah? But like we say, for us, it starts from where we are. people are having different approach. One thing we see people doing to address many problems is making sure they have a center catering for the youngsters. Them different cultural groups are. We seem when we look at Luton, it's a different ball game going on, and I'm wondering, is there any intention? You know, I don't know what all the organisations are like in Luton. You may have more insight. I don't know. I don't know how many proactive organisations there are in the African Caribbean community. I don't know if there's any dialogue or whether there's any intention to come together collectively and say, well, boom, let's get a building. You know, because it's not a rocket science. What we need. You know what I mean? Because if we're really concerned about addressing, especially the youth have got nowhere to go, like you say. You know, we need it, and I agree with it, because the youth they wander the street. In our days, we had the youths, we had Starlight, had the elder, we had access to the elders.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? We could come amongst the elders, even if we had a chip on our shoulder, the elders was there.
They're straightening out.
They straighten me out.
Guidance.
You see what I'm saying?
One of their own children.
Thank you.
That's how it is.
You know what I mean?
It was.
Yes, Bob. You know, and I'm believing. You know what I mean? Without that basic, you know, and I think it's quite sad. Like I said, I don't know if there's any intention, because I'm hoping that hopefully within the period of time we can get to talk with all the organisations. Because I'm hearing of a new one called African Caribbean Strategic Partnership. I don't know much about them. People have been asking me about them, but I've got no knowledge of them.
Well, can I say really, right? Like, I remember, like, let's go back into just after the uprising.
Okay.
You know, after the uprising, you know, I got involved deeply in the community after the uprising. And the short of it really, right, is like, I soon, you know, Starlight Youth Club was a place, you know, that I gravitate to, you know, and I'll be very factual, right? I was unemployed at the time. I'm coming from an engineering background. I came to Luton in 1966 from Jamaica. So that early years in growing up there stood me in good stead.
Yes.
You know, that's very important. You know, they also give me the child from 0 to 7, I will give you the man. And I do believe that was the making of me. And the short of it really, right, round the corner, I was living Old Bedford Road, round the corner was the Campbells. You know what I mean?
The Campbells.
The Campbells, yeah. You know, all of them.
Big family.
Big family,
yes.
You know, and we know the Baptist church that we used to go to and stuff like that.
Nice.
You know, then I went on. My mother, she would not allow me to go to Denby or Beach Hill because they was thinking, right, because the way I was about back home, I wasn't taking anything. And to true, I never knew. I felt like Conte Kinty. Being stole away. I don't even know why I came over here, but I had to come.
Yes.
And I was so advanced as a big man. You know, it took me a long, long time. Even my writing that I used to write, join up writing all my tables in and out, I had to go backwards. They wanted to do block writing.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that you have to go through.
Yes.
You know, and I was so fit and fast. You know what I mean?
Yes, Bob.
Nobody could catch me. I could back off my shirt and give to any whatever.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think it's very important we talk about Blackish, we're talking about culture as well. I'm not promoting, I'm just saying this is how fit it was. In my time, you know, our parents, they had to go through certain antisocial behavior.
Yes,
you know?
Yes, definitely so.
So they had to deal with that because we never had the law as such for, you know what I mean, because of prejudice. And it was no big thing for a black man, I talk quite plainly now, to dust out all 3, 4, whatever people in a pub or whatever. Because that was the nature of our fit and our diet and how we were and what we eat and such forth. Please do not take it the wrong way. I'm just giving that as an example, so no controversy. I'm not promoting that, you know.
No, it's the, well, it's,
you know what I mean? The reality. But now, can we do that now?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Too much junk food, Bob. Too much burgers and McDonald's.
But I remember at the same time, even my hair being plaited.
Okay.
And being cared for. Yes. And such forth.
Yes.
You know? Yes. I remember the sisters wasn't allowed to go out too often and things like that.
Discipline.
You know?
Yes.
Remember, you know, they have to have certain craft. You know? And I don't care whether people say it's sexist. But I think, you know, both man and woman should be able to look after themselves. But especially so, we mustn't rely on the system outside there. We must create our own food and do our own, what you call it. You know?
World some power, Bob. Yes, definitely so. You know? Yes, because many people are even now are growing their own food in their attics and these little lofments and things. People are realizing, boys, the best solution ultimately is to try and grow.
Genetic modified thing.
Yes, yes, and all the processed food. You know what I mean?
But I will go into enlightenment. You know, enlightenment really, right? There's a lot of things in my teenagers that wake me up. You know, like when I saw what was happening in America, Martin Luther, I remember those
Civil
days.
rights, yes.
Civil rights movement, Bobby Seale, the Olympic, all those kind of things,
Yes.
you know. And Muhammad Ali, you know, and even when he came on Parkinson's show, I don't know if anybody remember Parkinson, Michael
Yes,
Parkinson.
Michael Parkinson, yes.
You know?
Big thing, yes.
You know, and I remember for the day, he said when he went for a restaurant after being world champion, he went into a restaurant, you know, for food. And they said, sorry, you know, we don't serve niggers.
Yes.
You know, he said, he don't heat them. Now get me my food.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and things like that. Maybe not a good example using that terminology, but, you know.
That was a powerful
That was
example.
a very powerful.
You
And,
see,
and the man mash up, let me tell you,
But
he
again,
mashed up Parkinson with his intelligence.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? And he said, why do you seem like the black? I said, well, it's a natural. Blackbirds, you know, they fly with blackbirds. It's a natural thing. You know, he's used to the way he's been groomed and brought up. It's nothing against anybody else. So it's a love for ourselves. If we haven't got love for ourselves, how can we love others? If we haven't got respect, but we understand it's not easy for everyone. You know, we've all been through certain things and we have to liberate ourselves. You know, and one of the most refreshing things, really right for me, really right, was a way, you know, I felt, you know, like say with the elders back in the day, you know, how they used to look after. Now, where's the likes of Zippy?
Hey,
Where's the like of Rita Clark?
Well, it's serious.
Where's the like of certain people in our community?
It's serious. You
know
saying
what I
that,
mean? Where
Bob?
are they?
That's a serious thing there, so.
Where are they?
Because
you tell me where they are.
Yeah, as
You know, you
a
can
serious lick
Without
that.
favor.
Because it made me ask the question and say, even locally in Luton, when we ask the question, we ask, where are these elders? You know, do we have a council of elders? African Caribbean people, you know, even in Luton, do we have a council of elders? Do we need a council of elders? Other people have them elders and them council of elders. Do African Caribbean do we have our council of elders?
I don't believe we do.
Thank you, Bob.
I don't believe we do. But can I just say
Yes,
another
please.
thing as well?
Please say.
When I have some events, sometimes I like to see our elders there, incorporate them with dignity.
Sometimes,
You
Bob,
know,
it's
I'd like
important
to have
they're
them
there
to
all the
have them
time.
there.
It's important,
You
Bob.
know, but there's not certain things they'll go to.
Yeah, that's
and I don't
right.
cater for that.
Yeah,
We're
yes.
supposed to cater holistically.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
know, and I would call on some of the elders that I'm in touch with from time to time. Mrs. Stevenson,
Yeah.
you know, she's a lady that served a bit. You know,
Yeah.
Lawrence's mother, Mrs. Palmer.
Yep.
In fact, you see what happened when they mess with her
Yes.
with the barrel business.
Yes, of course.
She don't want to take it lying down.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
You know,
Yes.
there's another elder as well, Pastor Leonie Campbell. You know, she comes. You know, you see her in her stick and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah. And things like that, and it's very, very important.
Now,
Because
these elders,
we're all going to go to a certain stage.
we have to recognize them because
You
being in England and the United Kingdom, the healthcare is crucial after a while. And many, they had a newspaper reporting saying that many Afro-Caribbean people used to assume that their children is going to look after them.
That's right.
You see what I say, Bob? When they reach in their 70s and their 80s. And then circumstances in life may be different now, where they have to say, boom, because the children maybe have their own responsibility and you know what I mean?
right.
So they maybe have to consider the one thing they didn't want to consider, which is the homes care.
right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's
Because
right.
remember one time, you know, black people would have never
No
thought
way.
about going at them place, their brethren.
No way.
You know what I mean?
No
So for
way.
us, you know what I mean? So to see the situation now, go ahead.
Can I just say really about Zippy?
Yes.
God bless her soul. She had a group. The group was called the Befriender.
Okay, yes.
You know, they used to go around and visit people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That was our group, the Befriender group.
Yes.
You know, and she was one instrumental with me. How we got the Law Center in Luton.
Okay.
Because it started with mostly black people.
Yeah.
Me, I was involved with Zippy in terms of campaigning because there was no law center. There's a lot of things that we've done. You know, Philip Rose,
Yes.
Lawrence Palmer, myself, and Pakistani Zuftika. We
Okay,
closed.
Zufta,
We
yes.
closed down the CRC in Luton, the Community Relation Council,
Okay.
because they were a buffer organization that wasn't doing anything for us. In fact, when I heard one of them say that if anybody put their nose in their business, they'll find a cobra waiting to pounce. We knew that they lost their objectives. We had to get to the CRE, the Commission for Racial Equality,
Right,
and
yes.
let them know that they've totally lost it and
Yes.
give them the example. And I remember those times,
Yeah.
Derek Spalding.
That's yes.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, because my mind reflected right there, so as you said that.
We said really right that it's obvious that you've lost all sight of your aim and objective. Where you're supposed to be protecting us, you're attacking us.
Yeah. That was
May I remind you?
At the time, that was a CRC.
CRC,
yeah, that's right.
I said, may I remind you that in certain parts of the Caribbean, snake is a delicacy not to be missed. And we look forward to future encounter. We close them down. Because at the end of the day, right, is that, our use was that police brutality, education,
Yes.
And there's, I remember a youth up by Stopsley. I don't want to name names, but I think you know the youth who basically, right, he wanted him to cut off him locks to go to school, and he was suspended because he had locks.
Yes.
You know the case?
Yes,
you know the case I'm referring
yes.
to? There's a lot of things as well that have bigger dread.
Yes.
And a whole lot of different things. Now, I'm not here to talk about the injustices and all those kind of things. Let's put them in a context. But you see what's happening now? We internalize. It seems like when it's time to build. It's time now for us to build, right? We was always like, the system wasn't treating us right. I'm not saying the system is right. The system will never be right, really, right? But we have to utilize all our history, our experience, and despite the storm, to create something. Nobody going to give us nothing. Yeah.
Very true.
Nobody going to give us nothing.
Very true indeed.
But I would say really right in terms of Black history, it's a poignant time really right where we reflect, and I think you can't have world history unless you're doing something. You know what I mean? You can't just be reading.
Yes.
You have to read to assimilate, but you have to join forces. And I can understand. Like say in some circumstances, really right, why we got an identity issue. We've got an identity issue in terms of Luton. Because Luton is placed 30 miles from London. And sometimes people always look to the capital to be more forward and progressive. But sometimes you wonder, it may be, in some cases, but it may be really regressive. Because you can get the good and you can get the bad.
Definitely so.
You with me? Whereas people from London come in here, they'll see Luton as a nice place compared to certain parts of London.
Yes.
But sometimes the psychology is that we always welcome outsiders and strangers, and we never seem to respect and give the same kind of thing to our own. That's one of the legacy back from in the day. I like to honor people who there, despite.
Powerful, Bob. Powerful, Bob. Even within your works, Bob, do you find, even times like this at Black History Month time, do you find, I don't know, from your own knowledge and experience, do you know if are the schools active at this time, Bob? What are schools like? Because obviously we don't have a lot of community centres now. But what are the schools like?
I hear that the schools are quite good. Seriously, I don't know. I've not been in there to monitor exactly. Like I know, say Barnfield South.
Okay.
They put on these things, but obviously we need people inside there to see what is the program.
Yes.
Because unless they're engaged with people from the community that we know, it's very, very hard. It's very, very hard. So like, for example, Brother Kush, I would like to know at this kind of, when it comes on to Black History Month, these kind of time, people like yourself from the community can be invited in.
Yes.
To meet with the children and the other children, not of our, how can I say it, heritage, so that we give a proper perspective, so that we know that our is being represented in a good way.
Yeah, definitely.
And because education will only make sense if the children in the school can associate with somebody outside.
Well, Bob,
in terms of knowledge, not anybody bring in and do some little dance and thing.
We are the elders, we need to bring in, we need access. The youth them need access to the elders them.
That's right.
Yes. The access to elders them who have the wisdom, like you're saying, the knowledge, the experience, and the survival skills that's needed to encourage them and equip them with. So that's why I say I appreciate of you saying like myself, because I don't see myself as a young man, I see myself as an elder. Yes, and same thing, that's why I'm here on the radio trying to make sure people know I'm my accessibility. Yes, that's what the program is all about: information, education, and as you know, I've done lectures in prison. I've done prisons for quite many years now, from white modes and maximum security prison. So it's good to know that that the schools are still trying, because there's still a lot of addressing of history has to get done. We hope that some of the history gets addressed, that youths are understanding that Black History Month is also remembering that their life didn't just start from a slave.
No.
You know?
No.
And
No.
because obviously we're not far now from even Kwanzaa.
That's right.
You know,
That's
again,
right.
another, you know,
Yeah.
which is
Purpose
growing
and-
gradually
yeah.
because a lot of youngsters now don't want to get involved in all the Christmas vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are striving to understand what is the Kwanzaa vibe about. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to need to find out who are organizing Kwanzaa events.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, I hear at the same time, this is just information. I hear that the Luton community black men, because they did incorporate some input, you know, in terms of Kwanzaa
Yes.
last year. And I believe Ahead, this is one of the
Yes,
organizations,
but Tony Jules, yes.
yeah, they're looking to incorporate for that program, the Kwanzaa, to have a Kwanzaa. You know,
I am telling
you know,
you.
in terms of that. And I think in terms of like, I don't want to profess to be an expert in that area, but I know it's got the need, the purpose, and a whole lot of different things that makes it up that people can work towards. And it's a
Serious,
different
Bob.
concept
Serious.
in terms of, you know,
Yeah.
the traditional, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, so that,
Definitely
I think
so.
that would be very welcome. And a point. Can I make a point as
Yes,
well?
please do.
This point is that for me, the Almighty, right? He speaks through us. He gives us a message. We're the vessel, you know. So we don't have to be perfect because we're born sinners, but it's what we do through the vessel in terms of that gift. So I'll be very. How can I say that we should not be too quick to judge, you know, because we're not perfect, and we have to every day we're supposed to say our prayers, you know, trespass and
Very
whatever.
true, Bob.
But we must actually sort of acknowledge the good that we can take of the good. It's no point in we, you know, not. How can I say it for a better word? Really, about going on all the wrongs, even though we have to make a little reference to time, but we must, you know, accentuate the positive in us, really, right? And given where we're coming from, we have a lot of unpicking for some of us, you know, because for me now, really, right,
I think that's the only
Marcus
way
Garvey will be turning his grave,
That's
and Martin
all we-
Luther in terms of where we're at now.
Yeah.
On all those, where we're going now,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, well,
You
those,
know?
those things you just said, is
You know?
like they would be.
You know?
You know, and many ancestors and would be. Unless we equipped ourselves, just like you said, you know, history will continue to repeat itself in a crucial way unless the people learn the lessons.
You know?
You know, so if we don't learn the lessons, there are many things that will continue to happen. I said, I give thanks for your words, son, because you also make you know, like I said, you know, it's a time where people, like I said, need to remember, reflect, reassess. And even rejoice, because sometimes
Yeah, man, it's a celebration.
You know, celebration.
It's a
also,
celebration of
you know,
life.
Also, you know,
It's a celebration
Yeah,
of life.
and,
Look how far we've come.
Yes,
And what we use with the resources, that's something different. But we have come a long way.
we've definitely come a
A
long
long way. But
and
what we use with our resources,
that is another thing.
that is another
Well,
thing.
this is where, like you said, we have
You
to
know?
we have to develop, and we have to be very positive, and we have to, like you say, overall. You know, I mean, I was grasping it when you were saying, you know, it seems as if, you know, we need to also basically be able to be self-critical if we're going to make progression. Yes, that's where, like you said, we're able to look at the negative and the positive. You're able to be objective. Yeah, you're able to judge, but not judging others, but judge yourself. Yes, because the journey continues, and we often remind people also that when you're judging others, remember your journey hasn't yet completed.
That's right.
Your journey still continues.
That's right.
So while you're pointing your finger at others, you probably got 3 fingers here pointing at you.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's word, son, and Paul. Yes.
And, you know, another point as well, Brother Kush. We don't know, like I say, when we're going to come into our own as a being. You know what I mean? Let me expand on that. You know, the talk about Saul. You know, when he saw the light. You with me? You know, on the road to Damascus. You know? So a person could be a terrible person in terms of what he's been through and what he does. And who knows when that turn is going to come, that call is going to be coming.
Yes, very
You know what I
true
mean?
indeed,
So
yeah.
we have to look at that. I'm not
Well,
saying I'm putting up for the
No,
badness.
but what we're
I'm
saying,
not, but you have
judge
to
not.
remember.
Yeah, you have to carefully
you know?
judge a situation because
you know?
when the Almighty, like you said, make reference to, was mapping out that person's destiny, you wasn't there. You see, like all of us, when we meet somebody, the journey is about understanding people. It's not about judging people because everybody has their destiny. And we don't know. I don't know what your destiny is. It's not for I to judge you, but it's for me to try and understand you. Trying to understand who you are as a person, an individual, a man. What is your mission? It may be different from mine, but it's about understanding. Even if we have to agree to disagree.
That's what respect is.
Yes.
Agreeing to disagree.
You know?
And not taking it
personal.
Yes, on a level. And
that again shows the beauty of life, though, you see, because it's like when you go into a garden and the garden is filled with many, many different flowers. You know, you don't say you want all the flowers them to be the same, but you understand each individual flower for what they are. And it's that understanding and that of individualism shows the beauty. You see, and that is the level of consciousness, you know what I mean, that we have to strive to as a people, that differences is good. Differences is something to respect. Don't try, say that, you know, boom, everybody's the same. There are certain aspects of people which they are the same, yes, but yet there's still an aspect where people are individual, like their DNA. There's something exclusive about you that nobody else does it the way you do it. And that's how the Almighty made us. Come in, Bob.
And you know what? I've just been reflecting on, you know, like I said, the conversation, the way it's been. How come we haven't got a focused place? You know what it is as well? You know, I think in these times, really, right, sometimes we have to get brought down in order to grow back. Really, right? Empire rise and empire fall. You with me?
Yes.
Until when the lessons are heeded, we won't progress in the higher force of thing. And maybe at the same time, really, right, that we may have to have different people organizing, but somehow those leaders or those people are going to have to come as a common, rather than maybe hard to everybody come under one umbrella, you know, as one. Probably that's where we've been.
Serious assessment. That assessment is going to be done.
We all can't come on in the one at the same. Because I will tell you something, Brother Kush.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I'll speak my mind. You know, there are some people that I do not wish to be aligned with. You know?
Yes.
You know, because if I do align myself with certain, I know that will take away the goodness and the progression. Even at the same time, at another level where I can assist, I will assist as best I can within my means and whatever. But you know, not everybody can come together in certain things. You have to sometimes, even the best of family. Sometimes you have to.
Very true. Very true.
I just want to be.
Very true. And we can understand that, you know, but like I say, and you find that in all walks of life, you find that you're not the first and you won't be the last.
That's
right. You see, but it's how we deal with the situation. It's how we deal with it internally and how we balance it with what we do externally.
That's right.
You see, this is the whole thing, because there are people, there are many, many issues and that we're going to have to sort out internally without having to expose our weakness.
That's right.
Yes, because a chain is as strong as its weakest link, and there's many things we need to do. And like Garvey said in His Majesty, it is not the determination of the oppressors that delays our victory. It's the weakness of our own unity. Every time. Our only strength is in our unity. So I do give thanks, like you said, when there's certain people you're not prepared to be aligned with. I myself, I would like that there's certain organization, I will not join. I will give support where I can.
That's it.
If I can promote it and interview people, I will find some other way of supporting. You see me I say? But I have to join in, so, you know, because we know the struggle continues, you know what I mean? And we hopefully hope that within progression and time, and when things change, maybe we can get to that ultimate level where we can centralize and organize very effectively to do the sacred work that needs to be done.
Can I touch on a very important aspect? You know, I think really, right, we've had cultural movements, progressive cultural movement over time. You know, we unite against certain atrocities. But I think really, right, where we should be at now, we should be looking at how we can embrace, you know, like say, with a business. I'm all for the economics. I think the economics need to be put on a more higher level.
That is the time, though, Bobby.
We can't be looking at because you know, finance has got to come from somewhere to take care. In this
you are right.
system.
Many people don't understand that, and I appreciate that point too.
Sustainability, in terms of certain
and
things.
it's a balance again. You know what I mean?
So,
the economics is, but Marcus Garvey stressed that. Political independence, economical independence, and cultural independence. Every nation uses that. This is, you know what I mean, your politics, your economics, and your culture. Because your politics, which is the power to govern self. Not the power to govern other people, but the power to govern self. Your economics dictates your politics. Because if one particular group now decides, okay, no surgeries open tomorrow, no shops open tomorrow, that economical strength dictates the political power.
That's right.
And the culture is the cement they use to keep it all together. Politics, culture, politics, economics, and culture. we've had the politics to a certain extent, independence and black power, the area and the culture, the economics, that part of the.
You'll be surprised what people will do because if they haven't got economics in poverty, you know, the atrocities and things what they have to do.
It is
and
natural. It is natural.
In terms of scarce resources, everybody seem to, not everybody, I'm generalizing somewhat.
A hungry man is a hungry man. You can't be thinking about like morality and certain things that, you know what I mean? There's certain.
And I've experienced that.
Yes.
I've experienced that.
And I think it's very important that people be mindful of that and don't underestimate them level of experience there. This is why the basic food, clothes and shelter.
Yeah, that humanity needs. It's a
basic before you can even move on.
Maslow hierarchy of theory.
Thank you.
We know about taking from Pythagoras and
because
as a student.
This is why you see. This is why we don't get catch up with the messengers. We make sure we look at the message. Yeah, because we don't know where it come from. And when I say because we are the first, it means that we better than anybody. Yeah, so it's about the message and with the message have validity and have weight tonight. You know what I mean? And regardless where it come from, the message carry weight. It's what I say. So you know, like we say, food, clothes and shit. If man don't have the basics,
yeah, man.
you know what I mean? You can't be talking about morality and building communities and building empires, and you can't even eat food. You see what I say? So definitely so. So Black History Month is definitely a time, like I said, because Black History Month, like I said, which is all year round. To me, myself, is like the Kwanzaa. We have the 4 R's, the time to remember, reassess, recommit. We commit ourselves to the struggle or whatever, you know what I mean? And to rejoice the 4 struggles. How do you rejoice, Bob? You know what I mean? Because I know you've gone to remembering, reassessing, you know what I mean, recommitting yourself naturally to the struggle, which is,
Well, you know, for me, really, right, it's about family, you know what I mean? And you know, relationship.
Nice.
You know?
Yes.
And also at the same time, you know, sometimes I hear a nice tune, a nice music, you know, because really and truly, right, we got so much, you know, great singers, because music is a part of, you know, definitely in terms of like, in emotion. I mean, one of the great messenger really was Bob Marley. You know, he came through certain and whatever. We know about Solomon songs, what that can do if you're in a lamenting and certain, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a deep, brother, really, you know,
yes,
in
that's
certain
good.
ways, you know, people don't really probably realize, you know.
Well, people, people often forget that, people forget that we are spiritual first. You know? That's why, Bob, you see, because when we see, when we look with our physical eye, we may think we just see one person. You see? But when we learn to look with our spiritual eye properly, we know that we see one person with many, many ancestors, because we are spiritual beings first. But oftentimes we assume that we're human beings first. Yes? And, you know, we assume that we're human beings searching for a spiritual experience, when really we are spiritual beings going through a human experience.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, you know, so when people look at one and underestimate, that's why we say we mustn't judge. You know what I mean? Because, you know, life has no ending. You know, so, you know, we have died and born and died and born and died and born. So when you think you just see one man here, this man here carrying on with our ancestors, you know what I mean? So this is why we take time. And how we judge people, you have to be very careful, because you don't know who will stand beside you. You know what I mean? When a man could just become quiet, he could look like a vagrant. And you have to be careful, because it could be the Almighty himself.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Because the life of cycle is like that. There is no ending. It's just a different rites of passage and different stages and decades and dispensations. You know what I mean? So we have been traveling from that time to now. So when I see you, I see a man who have been traveling from that time to now. So this is why even every day we know we have to be very careful, because, you know what I mean, we don't know who and how the Spirit move through that man. But through the word, the sound, and the power which come from the heart, that is part of the testimony. To make, you know what I mean, because with that a man reveal himself. And then when the works know, the works will back up or show whether that word sound lack faith, you know what I mean? You know, so people would naturally, because we've fallen far from grace, as them say, for want of a better word, to the level where people just think physical. People are going to sometimes judge people wrongfully. But we will know better, we go through better, because we know so ultimately the whole objective is to understand that life is about balance and not judging people, but to understand.
This is some things really, right, which I have to reflect on. Like when Sol Campbell, he did a documentary, and about those graduates and those a lot of black youths, them, you know what I mean, you know, who's actually sort of been through college and university, can't get no work at whatever level, you know. And also, you know, I mean, for me, right, you know, in associated, one would not think that a person like Sol Campbell would come out with that.
Yes,
but you know what I mean, it shows you the depth of, you know, beyond that. Also, I saw a quote not so long back. It was that, you know, this quote was, if Jesus come back, the same people that kill him will kill him again.
Whoa.
And guess who that quote was from? Mike Tyson.
Okay.
You know, something like that. You know, so I'm just saying, you know,
Yes,
really,
yes,
you know,
yes.
within the troubledness,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
Malcolm X.
Yeah.
But Malcolm X basically, when he went away, he came back when he saw what brought him there.
Yeah.
You beat me without going into all the ins and outs of that. You know, his business. That's why he came back a different person from his own, you know, whatever, and you know, and things like
Elders
that.
have always made sure they left the mark that we have to know ourselves.
Yeah.
Mankind know thyself. You know, and like I said, we're all on a journey. You know, and sometimes some of us, you know, because life has started from a different level, we just throughout this particular dispensation in time, trying to understand and make sense of it all, like, you know what I mean? You know, but this is why I think it's very, like the King said, it's very important that we grow spiritual and cultural as well as just academic, because some people in these days, if they just grow physical and lose sight, you know, of, because the objective of life is to know thyself, our purpose in life, and basically our best we can serve humanity. Like,
I want to tell you something as well. I reflect back as well, you know. You see that Starlight U Club?
yes.
That Starlight was like the fountain, you know, of a lot of things. We had a black book inside there. We had loads of book inside there. Black history book, Caribbean.
And a library in there.
The library in there.
Yeah, man.
And that library was a source of knowledge and whatever.
Yes.
You with me?
Yes.
You know, and we, you know, and
but interesting you saying also about the Starlight
you know?
View Club, and you made me reflect on Mr. Derek Spalding, the African Organization of African Unity in Charity.
OAUIC, yeah.
And again, because I was thinking about the idea of us, you know, of there being an African Caribbean Community Center in Luton, and isn't that something similar to what the OAUIC did? Because wasn't that like a couple of old buildings that they converted?
Yeah, it's on Princess Street. 68 Princess Street.
Yeah.
And I remember the people that was involved, because I was a part of that. I came in there at that time.
Right.
And you know, to tell you the truth, right, I was quite surprised. When I got involved, really, right, there was a lot of work, but there's people that for whatever reason, wasn't taking it up.
Yes.
I couldn't believe I had to get busy.
Yes.
With the pen. There's no difference with the pen or with the brush or the broom. I'm sweeping up. I would do whatever I need to do, because at the end of the day, really, right, it doesn't demean me. Yeah. Either way, you know, and you know that kind of, and that is where I'm coming from.
That was a successful project. Yeah, that was a beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And I think that
come out of
that was just a touch up. You know, I think something similar that needed to be done on a bigger scale, though.
Because in those times, I remember those times was high unemployment. We talk about the MSC, Manpower Service Commission.
Yes.
With them kind of time. You know, there was all anything. There's alienation.
Yeah.
You know, things in the Arndale and all of different kind of things at that time. Those were troubled
serious times.
You with me? Where parents never understand the children and the in-between and all those kind of things. You know?
No, I remember some very evil times, those times at two Bobs. You know what I mean? Trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Very troubled and some very, very evil times those times. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So amongst all the accomplishment, you know what I mean? You know, reflecting back, but like I say, you know, but very troubled time, but you know, but yet the achievement was made. OAUIC, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Achieved fulfilled what it's supposed to have done for that particular year. You know what I mean? And I think it's the same kind of spirit, a stronger spirit. No, you know what I mean? And I was hoping that maybe within all the African Caribbean organization we have in Luton, you know, and I'm just hoping within time that sometimes we can find out what's going on collectively, because I know many good things are going on individually, but you know what I mean, but what is going on collectively? What is the plan for the future, you know what I mean, collectively, especially with organizations who call themselves umbrella organizations. I don't know if you have you know?
Well, you see the thing really, right? I mean, you know, in order for an organization to try and represent, firstly, right, they've got to pay honor and respect to the people who've gone before them.
Yes.
Whitney, you can't try and lick off a nose and put on a different one, like nothing ever gone before you. You know, you need to take that on board, really. You know, and at the same time, really, right, you know, you have to be willing to be open to guidance from others. Yeah? And we must ensure, really, right, that is a community base. We have our own democracy, so to speak. You know, you can't just be dealing with council and not dealing with people. You know what I mean? There is things to be taken up, and we know at the same time our people are very difficult. They're very difficult people. You know, and when I say difficult, very scattered in terms of we don't always share a common at the same time. splintered, whatever.
Yes.
But I think at the end of the day, right, we got to be extra good if we really dedicated to it. You know.
I think again that is so crucial what you're saying again, because everything is an art. Anything that involves being artistic involves a skill, you know. And again, we were talking about, you know, leaders, you know, to be a leader, because, you know, we're asking where are all our leaders, and do our leaders them still have the vision, or have our leaders them lost focus? Leaders them are like, you know, the shepherds leading the sheeps them. You know, do we have leaders them now leading the sheeps them astray?
Kush, you're deep in Mutabaruka. you know, but you see, it's a calling, though, isn't it? Yeah. Really, you know, to do this kind of work, you got to have a calling. You know, you can't do this kind of work, really. Very true, very true. And be over a period of time. Yes. You know, because obviously, right, you're gonna get licks. You know, this work, because it's not an easy kind of work. You know, I've had some licks dealing with this work. You know what I mean? Imagine. Truly. And sometimes I've got to learn my lessons, even though it's a society lesson. And sometimes my baton, you know, needs to be looked at as well, just like anybody else.
Do you find it character building? Do you find it character building?
Oh, yes.
All right.
Definitely.
More than seen it as an enemy or seen it as a problem. No, it's more character building.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely. There's always room for improvement.
Yes,
you know, but sometimes you have to know how much you can take.
Yeah.
And, you know, you may have to kind of recruit, you know, and come back again, you know. But at the end of the day, right, we can always nick with like-minded, strong people. Yes. You must have a mentor.
Yes.
It's important that you identify somebody in the community that you can have a conversation with to keep you sane in certain ways, right? To pleasing everybody, sometimes you know you can fall for everything if you're going to try it.
But the thing about it in life is sometimes it's nice to talk to people who have a different opinion, because to please everybody and everybody just agree, and you have a bag of yes people. No, it's not stimulating at all.
Well, even worse, you could have friend of me. You know, which is another different thing.
Thank you.
You know?
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You need to know who you have in front of you. You know what I mean? You don't want yes people like, you don't want no friend of me. So yeah, you know, so yeah, it's like Frederick Douglass said, you know, even generally when we have to struggle, we don't know struggle is no progress.
That's right.
So, you know, once we have...
Without conflict, there's no change.
All right.
Conflict can be constructive, is managed the right kind of way.
Yes, very true. You know? Yes, it's like the art of fighting without fighting.
But what you're doing, Brother Kush, right, you're even giving an opportunity for people to express. Yeah. Which is very important.
Vital.
You know,
it's a fundamental human right
to be able to talk,
to exercise that freedom of speech and expression, and have a platform, and like I said, to
and look how hard we've had to fight to get it.
Yeah.
So why not use it?
Yeah. And to appreciate the art of communication, like you're saying, Bob, because people do want to talk, but sometimes people also have to listen. You see, so it's nice when people understand that the communication is a skill, which involves, you know what I mean, one person listening, you know what I mean. As you said, was an elder who have chaired many organizations, and those are vital surviving skills, you know what I mean. So we always give thanks again, like when we can have the earwaves to demonstrate, even for people to listen to know, so well, boom. It's progression we're dealing with. We're dealing about development and progression. And communication is vital. Many relationships broke down because of communication. Businesses bust down because of lack of communication. Communication is the key. Yes. And, you know, and this is why we say we give thanks, you know, for elders like yourself who always try and keep the stations involved with things you're doing. You know, because sometimes, you know, we try and reach out with our limited resources to all the various organizations to find out what's going on, so that we can keep the people informed, educated, and stimulated at all time. You know, people are going through hard times, so, you know, information is power. You know, information is power, and people are looking for information. We are to give information.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
You know about it.
Definitely. You know, yes, where do you go? Where do you turn?
Where do you go? Where do you turn?
You know what I mean? And
what? To the television, Bob? To Coronation Street and EastEnders and Hollywood, and then after, boom, go to bed. Judgment. No wonder people are getting depressed. You know what I mean? On all kind of depression is on the increase.
And I tell you something really, right? You know, even our elders, basically, right, who had a good, strong start in terms of like nutrition, life.
Yes.
You know, even at this stage now, really, right? You know, what they say that one of the most important thing, right, is for them to talk loneliness.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
It's not to say that they as you already emphasized, that, you know, their children big, they've got children also. But sometimes they like to have a bit of company, you know.
Yeah.
You know, they like to come out and express, you know, and share and be loved.
That is vital, though, Bob.
Keeping your, what you call
see,
it, dementia and
the
all those
African
kind
Caribbean
of stuff.
Center we're talking about provides that.
You know?
That is what the center that we need.
You know?
Our elderly is supposed to can come and blend in with the youths them. Have a look at youth them around. Have a look at young man come sit and come tell me a story about Jamaica from the 50s.
You know, for me, really, I tell you, that's probably one of the reasons why I think I'm very fortunate, because I am in touch with a lot of the elders. You know, I know Barry Lyons.
Okay,
you know, the West Indian Association. Those people, even though there are different kind of, you know, colonized, but I have to accept them within there for what they are.
Yes, man.
Don't forget, before that, education wasn't given to everyone. It was universal.
Yeah.
So we got to have that perspective.
Yes.
You know what I mean, in terms of how they are and what we had it. So it's how we use it and things like that.
Yeah,
in terms of our elders, no, you find that education is not really educating some of the young of our youths, because it's not a life education. It's not a spiritual. It's not a cultural. It's an alienation.
Yeah.
They separate certain things. You know, when I say certain things, really, right? It's like, even though they may be good at, like, say, mathematics, they lack the soul. They lack the spirit. You know, the relationship. So they won't keep. You know, they're programmed in a particular way. And who am I to say? Because if I'm saying, oh, I'm old, but I'm sure there's a balance somewhere in terms of longevity and a good, healthy life. Never mind those who haven't got. You know, and the common thing is, right, because we don't own the means of production, we have to rely on other people.
Yes.
You know, so we ought to just now say, you know what? Education is for life. I've already used the terminology.
Yes.
And also at the same time, right?
Yes.
Follow your dreams, even though you may not getting paid for what you do. You're getting experience and it's taking you on a journey. But don't be stuck in something that's not going to get you nowhere if you're young. Yeah. You know, try and do something that you know is going to keep you at some stage. Once you get dead in our aspiration at the early, you're vulnerable like the leaves to go anywhere.
So don't put all the eggs in one basket.
Yes, that's it, man. Yeah?
Yeah, definitely so.
Anyway.
Beautiful Mr. Bob Baker. I want to say thank you very much for joining us on the original SFDC Radio Nubian Beat. It's an honor and a pleasure. Yes, one of the elders from the African Caribbean community, always active as an activist from that time to now, still doing good work. So I want to say thank you again. All the best to your family. All the best to your wife. Yes, the fair lady. Yes, and we definitely want you to pop in every time, but we know Bob will always pop in when something is here to inform the people in because, you know, we spread all over the world. Yes, you know, it's always an honor when this man pass through the studio.
Can I say thank you for having me on your show? And I want to say congratulations to Silver Fox in terms of this particular outlet and avenue for people to express.
Yes, Bob.
You know, I think this is very, very positive and inspiring. You know, so respect is due where respect is due.
Give thanks.
And hopefully, you know, this may continue.
Most honorable.